3 amigos minus 1.
Good evening, everybody. If it's Wednesday, it is Talk of the Town. I want to welcome everybody to another episode. This is actually show 384 of Talk of the Town. My name is Andrew Botieri, and I am here with Steve Lydon, and we are the two amigos tonight because our good buddy Wrestling, I guess, had to wash his hair or something. We're not sure what happened to Wrestling, but you better be watching Wrestling, and we'll see you here next month as well. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody is enjoying their summer here in America's hometown of Plymouth, Massachusetts. And also, a couple announcements before we get started here. Find out how you can become the ears and eyes of the town's natural resource wardens. There's a new app that you can get that you can download free on your website. Just go to free apps and look for the Park Watch. That's P-A-R-K Watch. Download that, and that'll be an app that you can carry with you, whether you're at Morton Park, any of the local parks, or any other areas. Steve, what are some of the other areas?
Any woods at all, any place you go, the public parks, or if you're walking through the woods, you're on our trail system, if you see trash that's been dumped, or you see someone that's doing something they shouldn't, if you call in, they can respond, get out there very fast. Yeah.
So again, it's a great app, and also it's a great way for you to, again, help continue to police the area, our town, our beautiful waterways, and also the woods. So again, it's called Park Watch, and it's for the town's natural resource wardens. And as we're going to talk about shortly, I know that there were some challenges with Morton Park over the 4th of July weekend, and so that probably could have come in pretty handy. Also, we have a raffling item here that Steve's holding up. It's a raffle for a Jeep, and it is, how much are the tickets? They're
$50.
$50 tickets, and this is to help the Manomet Youth Center, so it's a great fundraiser, and all proceeds help save the after-school program at the Manomet Youth Center. So again, another great cause, and so hopefully you will be able to. What do they do? They just go to the drawings on Saturday, September 19th. So you got some time, and you can. Tickets are also available on friendsofmyc.com. Oh yes, it's right there on the screen. Hey, we just kind of pulled the show together. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's up there on the screen right here. There we go, right there. And also ask for Kim at 631-5150. Okay, let's get to some of our great underwriters. Of course, Brewster PC Solutions with Wrestling Brewster. That has a much better effect when he's actually sitting here next to us, but enough of that. And also our underwriters, of course, the wonderful and mystical David and Kevin Gallerani of Cape Auto Body Service. Locations are Samoset and Sandwich Streets. Great service, great people, and 4 generations. That's pretty awesome. And he also works hard to bring many good things to Plymouth. I hope that was about Dave. So okay, just checking.
He'll call and tell you if it wasn't.
So I know today's show, of course, as those the wonderful amount of listeners and viewers that come into our show, you know that I always have my little notes, and I did get some here. But I guess there's a couple topics that have been really very important here in the town, very critical, I would say, for many reasons. And I'm going to let Steve kind of talk a little bit about the issues that we're having with the Southfield retirement, or the community for the retired adults. And actually, I think we got Ken over here who is going to kind of start this topic. And again, we would like you to call in to today's show at 508-830-3971. Again, 508-830-3971. This is a very heated topic. So, Mr. Ken, go right ahead.
Thank you, Andrew. Yep, it looks like this microphone is open. I spent quite a bit of time today on this topic. I know that it's important to many of the people in the community, and I had a conversation with Matt Muratori today. I also had a conversation with Ed Bradley, and I talked with one of the residents over at Southfield. And I need to keep it clean, but I am really, really ripping. They're refusing to allow the senior citizens at Southfield to have air conditioning units in their windows. And what they're doing is they're telling them that the original topic was that aesthetically it did not fit the makeup of the building. So they didn't want any window units put in. So then they decided they were going to buy some of these portable units that you would roll around from room to room, and you put this vent in the window. I took a look at those. I was thinking about doing it in my house. They're not effective. They're just awful. Well, in my conversation today, I find out from Matt Muratori, who is our representative, that he's been discussing this on a regular basis with the people from the Plymouth Housing Authority. The Plymouth Housing Authority are elected officials that serve the public for a 5-year term. There is also one appointed official that's appointed by the Board of Selectmen to serve for 5 years. Well, the person that has been appointed, their term expires in 2017. We can't do anything about that one. But this May, there is a person who, in the past, has run unopposed and elected by the people to basically run roughshod, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, but I am ripping, run roughshod over our senior citizens. One of the things that really infuriates me about this whole situation is, with the heat that we've had this past week, our temperatures were higher in Plymouth than they were in Boston. Our relative humidity was up over 72 or 73%. There were 3 people that left the apartment complex due to heat-related issues. 3. In a conversation with the chief, Chief Bradley, for the past 4 years, this complex has the highest amount of heat-related ambulance runs in July, August, and the third month, June falls into the latter, the lowest. So it's like July, August, and June for the past 4 years.
Wow.
Taking people out for heat-related issues. Something needs to be done. Now, what I want to do is I want to cause an uproar in this town. We need to make sure that these jerks, and those are my words, don't get reelected. They need to have people running against them. We need to do something about this housing authority, about terrorizing the residents by sliding notes underneath their door in the middle of the night. They're afraid to knock on the door and tell them what's going on. They're sliding notes under the doors. These people are living under the threat that they're going to be evicted if they put their air conditioning units in their windows. Now, that is awful.
Oh, it's absurd. It's especially where, again, you know, the the 2 groups that always get affected by severe heat are
the
young children and the elderly.
elderly.
I mean, I know when I lived in Philadelphia, you've got a lot of the tenement homes, and there were always heat-related deaths of elderly in the Philadelphia area. Question: how long has Southfield been there?
Oh my goodness!
It's like forever, right?
It's been forever. Yes.
And they've had window units
in the past.
In the past,
yeah,
they've had window units in the past. They put in these new windows, and they don't want their new windows supposedly to be damaged. When they first came out with this new policy, they stated that it was the fire department, it was the building department, was putting down these rules. It wasn't them. So now all of a sudden, it's the aesthetics. Well, David Malaguti at one of the selectmen's meeting, and I agree with him because I have the same type of windows. I have Anderson Renewal. You cannot put an air conditioner in unless you take a lousy piece of pine that you can buy at any Home Depot.
Correct.
And you just put it on top of the windowsill, and that brings it over the plastic.
Gives it that little lip.
Give that little lip, so you're
insert.
not damaging any windows. Not only that, it's an authority. The selectmen have tried. They've contacted them. They've tried, but because it's an authority, the housing authority, the selectmen, they do not fall under the selectmen.
Who do they fall under?
The authority.
And who's the authority?
They are.
They are self-governing.
They're self-governing. Okay.
Isn't that appalling?
And not only that,
Sounds like like Russia and some of these third world communist countries.
I compared it to Nazi Germany. That's what I
is.
compared it to earlier today.
and you look at our elderly, and I was a mailman for years, and I delivered mail to this complex, an elderly complex in Dorchester. And one day I said to him, I said, gee, congratulations, you got a raise in your Social Security. And they looked at me like, what are you, nuts? Because when their Social Security goes up, their rents go up, their Medicare goes up, everything goes up. These people on fixed incomes, they don't have much. They've worked their whole lives, and the heat really affects them. Why is there a problem here? I don't understand. You do the right thing. And that is the right thing, to take care of our elderly. And, they, like I said, they don't have much, and it really burns my butt that, they're being treated like this. They're being treated that they can't have the air conditioning. That's going to affect their health. They're afraid to say anything because they're afraid they're going to get evicted. I said, if anyone should be evicted, it's the housing authority. So please, everyone in town, call them up, call the select, call anybody. Let's see what we can do.
They won't take the call, Stephen. They unfortunately won't take the call. Here's what I would love to do, and I'll help as much as I possibly can. But I would like to get together a group of volunteers to go over there and put these window units into these people's apartment windows. And when they come to try and evict them, I want to be standing there with the same group of volunteers to tell them to stuff it where the sun don't shine. They need to be put in their proper place. You don't do this to senior citizens.
No, you don't.
What other recourse do we as the town, as the people of the town, or selectmen, or any other governing bodies? I mean, like we're seeing now, of course, with the as we've seen in the past week, the horrid videos of Planned Parenthood selling, fetus parts, and now there's a push in Congress to actually defund them. Is there any way that that you can defund this authority?
Well, this is one of the calls that Matt Muratori made today. He called Congressman Keating's office, and Mike, what's Mike's last name? Stevie, you know Mike.
Oh.
But Mike is the assistant for Congressman Keating. He's been in touch because they're talking about if there's any way they can do anything about funding. Maybe that might be the slap in the butt that they really need to get. I've been furious about this all day long, and this is just eating away at me because I'm getting up there in years. And if I had to go live if I didn't have my wonderful, beautiful home in Manomet, would this be what they would be subjecting me to?
Yes.
And any other citizen in this town?
Right. And
92 degrees in that building last night at 8 o'clock.
they forget the housing authority is supposed to assist the residents. to not hurt them, not to treat them like this. And, you know, unfortunately they're there, but I think if we get enough people and we get enough volunteers, Kenny, I'll be one. Let me know.
Thank you, Steve. I'm willing to give it all I got. And anybody else that would like to volunteer to go do this, I don't know if the residents will allow us to do it, but
because I know if
I would love to.
If my mother was living there, I'll tell you now, she would have an air conditioner in her window. And
well, I
would,
if the head of the housing authority had his mother living there.
You know, not only that.
Exactly.
There is no place, there is no community room that's air conditioned. There's nothing there that they can get out of the heat during the day. I mean, if we have a snowstorm, we have a shelter. Not only for people, but their dogs.
The hallways are nothing more than their
ovens.
They're greenhouses, because they're all glass and they just hold the heat. And the cement building holds all the heat.
You know.
But anyways, what I want to say is this: if there are any volunteers out there, I would like them to call 508-830-3971 and jump on the bandwagon, because we need to be involved as a community to take care of our senior citizens. We can't allow these kinds of activities to go unchallenged. So please jump on, help out these senior citizens. This is not the way you should allow anybody to treat your mother, your father, or your grandfather.
Well, and I think, thank you, Kenny, and I think another thing we could also do is, you know, I think they've got a housing authority office, and so if there was to be a big picket going on,
that would be fine.
You know, that would at least get the point across, and maybe get, you know, Fox 25 or some of the other TV stations to actually come down and do a story on this. I mean, it seems like, you know, the silent majority, which seems most of us are, unless we do something like this, nothing gets done. Everything gets pushed over.
You're right, Andrew. It's true.
So, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, squeaky wheel gets...
It does.
You know, got to be a squeaky wheel.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, having had, you know, my grandmother, and although she was at the nursing home right down the street, but, you know, nothing more precious than our elderly. As I wrote in my book, A Celebration of Life, I had different quotes throughout the book, and one of them was, when the elderly die, the library closes. Because they have such a wealth of information and knowledge that unless you sit down with them and, you know, ask questions. I audio taped my grandmother just about stories, so now all my siblings have a CD of that, even though my grandmother passed in 2001. You know, we can all, you know, when I do my work, chores around the house, I pop it in and I get to hear her talk.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool. Kenny, do we have any callers? Hello!
Hello, you're on Talk of the Town.
Yes, this is Pat Swinney in Plymouth, and I wrote a letter to the editor about this situation a week or so ago, and I believe it's in the paper today. I'm not sure. I haven't read the paper yet. But I also called the governor of Massachusetts today.
You go, Pat.
Because this is absolutely inhumane behavior for any adult to treat a senior citizen like this. And what I'm hoping is that the governor somehow can just sign a paper to have all of these air conditioners put in these people's windows immediately. Immediately. I am ashamed to live in this town right now. I really am.
We agree. We agree with you.
Unforgivable.
Yep.
Unforgivable.
No, and Pat, we again we agree with you on that, and you know, again, it's people like you that get passionate, get emotional, and you take it to the next level. I mean, you know, the paper's great, but you know, calling the governor is wonderful, and God bless you for doing that.
Well, you know what? These people need help right now, and they should not need help, because this is what this boils down to is humanity has no respect anymore.
No, we see that in more cases than just this, Pat, unfortunately. But you know, Pat, if you do know anyone who would like to you know, work with Kenny or Steve about possibly going in and putting air conditioners in there, I know Kenny had you on the line, but you know, we could definitely get some volunteers for something like that.
Absolutely, I'll do whatever I can, and I'm sure that anybody in my neighborhood. I know my son-in-law went over there last night and put his mother's in because it was 81 degrees in her apartment.
Good for him.
Unbelievable. Good for him.
Good for him.
He told her, he said, "Mother, if anybody comes to take it out, you call the police.
There you go.
Wow, awesome.
Thank you for airing this.
Pat,
thank you,
very
Pat.
much.
Thank you for what you've done.
You're
Yep.
welcome, and I'll keep trying.
Thank
Good.
you.
You go, girl.
Bye.
See,
That's
that's what we
people
need.
power.
Right.
It's about people power.
You know, and they told the residents, well, you can go and buy, like Kenny said, these air conditioners that you can, that has the vent that goes out the window.
Yeah.
They don't work. They do. First of all, they're very expensive, and the seniors, most of them who live there, are under fixed incomes. They can't afford these things, and they don't work.
And how they, some of them might not have the ability to walk the thing from room to room.
Yep.
And put it together.
Yep.
In
So,
that regard.
Poor. The housing authority is. I'm sorry. You're not doing your jobs. You're not looking after the residents, and that's your job.
Well, and it's, again, we see this, and so, they're just up in Bill Ricca. This past week, they actually, the town manager, they've actually arrested a selectman who, I guess they had contracted, an outside contractor, to paint the crosswalks in the center of Bill Ricca. And now here it is July, it wasn't getting done. The elderly were complaining because drivers couldn't see the crosswalk, and almost were hitting a couple people. Well, this selectman who owns a paint company went and painted the crosswalk so the drivers can see him, and the town manager and the rest of the selectmen want the guy arrested and resigned because he went above and beyond what he should have done. No, he did what was right, damn it.
Sometimes
amazing.
it is. It's people like this who take the bull by the horns to get something done. I admire. They shouldn't be prosecuted. They should be given a thank you, a commendation for this.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
Well, we're in the, as we know, we're in the age of political correctness, which is the biggest load of crap that I've ever come across, and the two sides of everything, where it's okay for one group to do something, but when another group does it, they're demonized, and it's sad. Wake up, America, because if we don't, I think there was an old thing back in the and I know Kenny brought up the Nazis, and I'm not really making this connection, but they said in Germany when Hitler got in there that they came for the Jews and we said nothing. They came for the gays and we said nothing. They came for the Democrats and we said nothing. And when they came for us, it was too late. So, just saying, people, just saying. Okay, you also had something else that you wanted to...
Yeah, I got a couple of things. First of all, I think is very, very, very important. I attended the selectmen's meeting a few weeks ago, and they had the task force that's dealing with the opiates problem. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, I don't remember everyone's name. I know Chief Bradley was there. Police Chief O'Terry was there. One man who didn't sit at the table, who should have, I couldn't believe the things he was saying, was the administrator, Peter Holden from the Jordan Hospital. I give this man a lot of credit for the things he was saying about why the problem is the way it is because of doctors and pharmaceutical companies. He says, years ago, if somebody fell, they'd come in and they'd give him you got a bruise, we'll give you an aspirin, or, but now it's like, oh, well, we got to give you pills, pain pills. You got pain? Oh, we'll give you a pill. We'll give you 2 pills. Well, I don't want you calling my office again. No sense. Give you 4 pills. Yeah. And this is the way the problem is going on, and it's just the problem is crazy. It's just there's so many people. It doesn't affect any one group. It affects everyone. Mm-hmm. It affects no matter what walk of life you're, the lawyers or mailmen like me, or young, old, black, white, religion-wise. It doesn't matter. It's affecting everyone. And this committee, I was very, very impressed. And everything they're trying to do, Gary Maestas was there with the schools. But Peter stood out. To me, he stood out. He stood up there and he told it like it was. And what he's doing in his hospital and how they're trying to get doctors not to use so much pain pills or so much pain medication. And I think he was great. All of them were great, but Peter stood out. Gary Maestas, and there was a few others. You know, like I'm terrible with names, and there was so many I couldn't remember all the names anyway. But I did want to shout out, you know, and give Peter a shout out because I really appreciate, you know, him standing up like that. So
well, and I think that, you know, we talked about it here because Tim Grandy had actually had a family member that had died from it. And I got it, you know, with a niece in my family as well that it's kind of ruined her life. Hopefully she can find the intestinal fortitude to get back on her feet and move forward. And you know, I've talked to my cousin Mike Botieri, Chief Botieri, a couple times as well. But there was a thing on I think it was on RKO this morning on the Boston.com, the new Kim Carrigan show, and they had a father who had called in, and his daughter, I don't know if she actually I think she overdosed a couple times, but she would actually what they call doctor shopping. And if one doctor is not going to give you that medication, a lot of time, again, it starts with the pills, and once they can't get the pills, the oxycodons and that, then they go to the heroin.
It's cheaper,
and you can get a dime bag, $10 bag, and you know it's enough to carry you through a day or two. But it's that doctor shopping that goes on, and she had gone to 15 different doctors till she finally got her pills. Yep. And so there has to be something where if a doctor rejects it, and I know that there's this whole HIPAA thing going on, but if a doctor rejects a particular person, you know, Jane Doe, that Jane Doe's name should go into a database that can then be, so the next doctor can say, yeah, sorry, you know, you've already been to your first doctor and they were rejected. People actually fire their doctors till they can find a doctor that'll give them what they have. And again, it's an addiction.
They're sick.
So they're sick, and that's, you know, they really don't have the will of control. You know, as I've had some friends that have had some drug issues over the years, or alcoholism too. I had a very good friend that passed from drinking, but it's a demon, and the demon just grabs him, and that demon will not let go of him.
And Judge Minahan was another one. Judge Minahan at the court, she was there and explained how they're trying to get people into the court system to get rehabbed, but not into the criminal system. Mm-hmm. And it's working out really great. I mean, because someone who's addicted it's a sickness, and if they go to jail, or if they're convicted of this because they had, you know, illegal drugs or whatever, they can't get jobs afterwards. It affects the rest of, you know, this conviction will affect the rest of their life. So she's working with the courts, and High Point was there, and they're doing a lot of, you know, different work, you know, trying to help with the rehabs and stuff. It was just amazing to see so many different people and all the different ways they're trying to work together. And hopefully, maybe this will put a dent in it. It will stop it. I don't know if it'll ever stop it, but, you know, hopefully this will help a lot of people.
Well, and I think actually that it was back a couple months ago when we were talking with myself and I think Wrestling and Tim Grandy, that we had the Old Colony newspaper, and just in the Old Colony newspaper, under sort of the police blog, there were 3 fatal overdoses. Yep. In 1 week.
They had
in one town.
They had an overdose in the courtroom. A juror in the jury pool overdosed in the jury pool room. You know, I mean, it's everywhere. It's not, you know, it's kind of everywhere. And hopefully,
well, it is, and it's like you said, it's all walks of life. But interestingly enough, it's more prevalent in affluent families. You know, you're seeing. Maybe because they have the prescription drugs that the kids, you know, I say kids today don't have to go out and buy drugs on the streets. They can just go into their parents' medicine cabinet and they're all hooked up. So
that's true, because I know my wife had surgery and they gave her 80 pills. Mm-hmm. She didn't use all 80 pills. Mm-hmm. So when my wife got rid of them, I dropped them off at the police station. But then you get some people say, well, you know, I'm going to save these in case I need them for something. You know, you don't. You know, you don't. And when you leave them in your medicine cabinet, you know, it's like a cookie jar to kids. They're there. They'll, you know, you can't do that. You lock up your booze when you have young kids, and you don't keep stuff in your medicine cabinet. You know, it's just too much of a temptation.
Yeah. Nope. I 100% agree. 100% agree. Ken, do we have any more calls?
I had a call.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
I thought he was just going to come in and say no.
And it was a good call.
Okay.
And the
Tell
call,
us about it.
Well, I want to shout out for more volunteers. I already have 2.
Awesome.
And the more the merrier, because there's more can be accomplished with more muscle.
Right?
Yep.
So
Right here.
508-830-3971. And then I had somebody call and didn't want to go on the air and didn't know where Southfield was.
Oh.
But now they know where it is, and they're saying the housing authority is doing this to our senior citizens. Yep. And I said, yes. So we have another person walking around scratching their head at how people can treat parents and grandparents like this.
Yeah.
It's awful. If I had any, I know one of these people, and I had a discussion with another committee member in town, and I was telling him how furious I was about this whole situation and how I was going to address it on Talk of the Town tonight as I was on my way here. And this person said to me, well, you know so-and-so's on that committee, don't you? And I said, I do now. And now this person, when I first met them, I held them up here. And then with something that happened with a house in Manomet, they dropped down to here. Now they're down here. And I will work day and night to get him out of his appointment, because he only wants the appointment as a thing that he can put on his resume. It's like a lot of people will run for an office because they want something for their resume. This person ran for the housing authority so he could have something to put on his resume.
Interesting.
We need to change this thought process. And I would love if one of our senior citizens from Southfield collected I think it's 50 signatures, and put their name on the ballot. Wow. Wouldn't that be a hoot?
Wouldn't that be great?
I'd contribute to that that election campaign, because it'd be the first time somebody else would be running for that office, and somebody else would make a difference.
Make a huge difference.
Yes.
Again, 508-830-3971. And actually, if there's anyone from Southfield that is watching tonight, please give us a call. Call in and let us know how you feel. And again, or Matt. We are looking again for volunteers to work with Ken and Steve and a couple other ones that Ken said have already called and volunteered, so that we can get a group to go down and put the air conditioners in. I think, what a better statement.
Yep.
What a better statement to make.
That'd be great.
And I know, there's a lot of difficulties that we have. One of the other things that I had was reading about in the newspaper, and I had also heard, just sort of some scuttlebutt about it, was, again, the Morton Park 4th of July weekend. And, of course, it's a beautiful area. 4th of July is a great time, or the 3rd of July, 4th of July is a great time for families to get together. But I didn't realize, as I was reading this article, the number of people that park at the Shaw's parking lot.
And walk.
Now, I live in West Plymouth, and with or without the construction that's going on Samoset Street, which has just been. I always go the back road, Summer Street, and I always drive by Morton Park, and I noticed, again, just the number of vehicles. They did have some kids sitting in chairs, letting people in a little at a time. But I feel bad for the residents
Yep.
of that area that pay their taxes, beautify their homes, beautify that whole area, and then we get people that come in there and that do not respect themselves, do not respect our property, do not respect the homes around there, the trash that they leave, the vulgarity that is heard, the hooliganism or the fighting that goes on.
Yep.
And again, we're letting these people in. It almost sort of sounds like illegal immigrants coming into our country and just living off the land. I mean, when I was reading the article, that's what I thought. There was one statement that was made in there that they said, maybe they should explain in Spanish to some of these people about how they should respect, the land and the property. It's like, I don't care what language you speak, you should still respect the property rights, the property, the land, the beautiful waterways of something like Morton Park, no matter what language you speak. I mean, it's humanity, human nature to have respect.
That's one of the things that has kind of gone by the wayside is respect. Mm-hmm. They had it up at, look how long it took to clean up the beaches in Plymouth with like 4th of July and all the problems they had.
Yeah.
All right, we had state police helicopters, and unfortunately, this is what it takes. And at the selectmen's meeting last night, they announced that the police chief, Police Chief Pateri, has met with Shaw's. And Shaw says, well, we can't stop the people from parking there because they are our customers, in which they go in to buy the stuff there before they go to Morton Park. But they're going to put a 2-hour limit. They're going to put a 2-hour limit on cars parking in there, so that will help.
Especially if the cars get towed.
That's right. And not only that, I guess people were shocked when they announced 5 o'clock, everyone leave. And there was some hanger-oners that didn't want to leave, and I guess the police were called. But overall, people left. Mm-hmm. And it's enforcement. Unfortunately, it's enforcement. You got to have either a park officer with police powers.
Yeah.
You need police powers. Yeah. They got to have police powers. So we have horses. Mm-hmm. They could walk. They can go through the woods and but it has to be enforcement. Up in Hampton Beach, no glass containers on the beach, no alcohol on the beach, and they enforce it.
Yeah.
And they have police on the beach, and it works. And not only that, you don't have broken containers and people cutting their feet on glass.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes along with that, but it's all enforcement. And unfortunately, enforcement costs money. Mm-hmm. Putting a policeman out there, on a horse or walking or whatever, it costs money. Mm-hmm. And that's with the budget today. It's just an extra added cost that we shouldn't have to have.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to do this. But unfortunately, with today the way it is, we have to.
Yeah.
We have to. And unfortunately, the park's going to close at 5 o'clock now. I don't know what time it closed before.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was dusk or whatever, but now it's closing at 5 o'clock. So those, it doesn't get dark to 8. So you had a few extra hours. You just lost that.
Yeah.
A few, not all, but because of it's always the few, and because of the few, everyone's going to have to suffer who uses Morton Park, and hopefully, the selectmen are going to monitor this, and if it gets better, maybe next year they can open it up again, try it out, see what happens, and if not, then go back to 5 o'clock.
Well, there was also in the article they talked about. Possibly some type of a permit that people would need to get, especially the out-of-towners would need to get some type of a permit to be able to go to the park for that particular time frame. So I think, unfortunately, as Steve said, enforcement's a big part of it. It's like if there's no pain to the penalty, then there's no penalty. I mean, people just continue to. It's like when we look at some of our court systems, especially the liberal court systems that we have here in the state. That there's a 4-time, 5-time, 6-time offender of whatever it might be, and they keep getting released. It reminds me of the young girl up in San Francisco that was killed by an illegal immigrant who was deported 5 times and kept coming back, and finally, ICE and the San Francisco authorities just looked the other way. And unfortunately, it takes a death for something to happen. You know, jumping back to Southfield, I hope that's not the case with these air conditioners.
No. You know, it usually, like you said, it takes a tragedy. It takes something horrific to happen before people react.
Yeah.
You know,
Do we have another caller?
Speaking of air conditioners.
We just have like Home Depot's going to donate.
Well, I just got another call from another person that was informing me that some of the senior citizens that have been, I don't know, I just don't know whether you could really call it a threat, but they were told that they can't put their window units in. They can't do it. So what do you think they did? They gave them away. So there's a lot of people in the apartment complex who have given away their window units or threw them away or whatever, and they took these little portable units. So we have a twofold problem now. I need to see if I can find somebody in the community that would be willing to maybe donate a 5,000 BTU window unit to these people that don't have a unit to put in. That's next on the list, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep on trying. 508-830-3971. Let's make the Plymouth Housing Authority accountable for their actions. And I'm sorry to keep belaboring.
No, go. This is
it's an important
this is what the
topic.
show's all about. It's about bringing awareness to things, and a lot of times we sit as here as the three amigos, and it's humorous. We do some funny stuff. We do talk about some serious stuff, but this is serious stuff. This is crap as far as I'm concerned, and I would be just ashamed as I think it was Pat that called in earlier, that she's just disgusted to live in this town.
We have a caller.
We have a caller.
Right back.
Go back. You're going to get some exercise there, Ken.
If people can't see, but Kenny's in the control room, and every time he wants to talk, he's in a different room, so he has to come running out here to talk. And the phone was just ringing, so Kenny was running back in to get the phone. So he's going to lose some weight tonight, Karen. So,
Well, while we're waiting for him to come, I just wanted to also do a shout-out. As some of you may know, I sit on the board for Project Arts, which is a wonderful 5031c nonprofit. And we just, the weekend of July 18th, we had our annual Roots and Rock Festival down at the waterfront. I mean, it was phenomenal. We had between Saturday and Sunday, gosh, we probably had about 15 bands. They were all different genres. The place was just loaded with people. And if you didn't see the nice piece here, this was the new bandstand. We had the Kennedys. We had some country. And we had this guy here, which is Chakula. And he has a hunger bus. And matter of fact, I'm in the process of writing a blog about it. Very inspirational guy. And what he does is he plays around the country, and all he does is require people to come and bring non-perishable canned goods, and then he drops them off at the local food pantry. And then our very own Mike Landers jamming with Roberto Mortaboli. I should know that, right? Being an Italian. This guy was the #1 blues guitar player in Europe, and he was there, and it was a fantastic night. We had, of course, Mark T. Small, who also plays up at the New World Tavern as well. But I just want to do a shout out. Again, this is what a lot of the organizations do. Project Arts being one of them. A lot of the other nonprofits in this town that bring you the arts, bring you the music, bring you the food, the shopping, the retail. I mean, we live in a fantastic town, but the thing is we need people like you guys out there to come out and support a lot of these programs. Every Wednesday night, Project Arts, we do the free Wednesday music on the waterfront. We had, last week we had about 900 plus people that were there. I mean, it was fantastic. Yep. But there's people I know who live in Plymouth that, gosh, I didn't even know that was going on. Well, it's in the papers. It's down at the waterfront. So again, this town offers us a lot of things, so take advantage of it, please. It's, if you will, people. Thank you. Thank you. So, I don't know, Kenny's, I think he's just he's got a laundry list of volunteers I think he's got going on right now. Let's see. I also, just some things from news around Plymouth. I was going through the paper. We need to have a segment on here called, Stupid Things Offenders Do. And one was, of course, I think it was last weekend, or the last weekend I think it was. There was a naked man who jumped on a police car, and he got tasered by the Plymouth police. If you didn't hear Kenny, he goes, I hope they got him in the right spot. Well, I guess it would take a lot of balls to jump on a car naked, and I guess that might be where that all comes from. But, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Howie Carr does the police blotter. But this one was a classic one. And again, I'm reading this, and I'm going,
how dumb is dumb?
You can't make this stuff up. There was a drunk driving arrest on July 22nd here in our America's hometown of Plymouth, and I'm not going to give the sex of the person, whether they were male or female, but they were apprehended after they left the scene because when they hit the car, the parked car that they hit, they knocked their bumper and their license plate off the front of the car, so they were easily tagged. I mean, at least if you're gonna get in an accident, take your license plate with you. So I'm gonna start doing this as a segment, and I'm just not gonna do it for our Plymouth papers, but the South Shore papers. It amazes me sometimes. Yes.
The interesting part of that whole thing, I read that in the paper too.
Oh, yeah.
When they went to her house and she came out, she was naked.
So we had 2 naked people in a weekend. Oh, my God. You know what? You got to love this stuff. I mean, especially with all the craziness and the seriousness, of course, the housing authority with the air conditions at Southfield. Some of the things we were just talking about more apart. You got to make some got to get a little levity, without a doubt. So I just thought those were kind of some interesting things to chat about.
Good. I got one more thing.
Okay.
I got a thing I want to bring up. I'm very disturbed that the county commissioners are going to put. I got this from. It's only a rumor, but a very reliable one. All right. I was told the other night that the county commissioners has signed a contract with a company to run a regional transfer station at Exit 5, where our old transfer station used to be. I was also told these people were going to get paid either $2,400 or $3,400 a month rent. They were going to pay that rent and also get $1 a ton for everything that went through there. I was also told that they were also going to process medical waste. This is not acceptable to me. Exit 5 right now is a zoo with the traffic. It's horrible. You see how it backs up. And, when the schools, it's worse with the school buses. So the traffic, trucks coming in, hauling in construction debris and everything else it's not acceptable. Not only that, I'm afraid that the smell, the noise, and everything else that goes along with this, it's just not the right place for it to be. The county commissioners, they're broke. They don't have any money. All right, so now they're going to do anything they can to make money. Well, they have a piece of property up in Overy Street, the old sheriff's home up there. It's prime property. There's all kinds of medical buildings that are up there, and I'm sure if they wanted to sell that, they could sell it if they need money that bad. But, this is crazy for them to do this. And I don't have any respect for them because I don't think they have any respect for the town of Plymouth. And what can you think about a group who lays people off? And the only department that makes money is the Registry of Deeds. They laid people off, and yet they almost double this. They gave themselves raises.
Unbelievable.
This is not, this is like the housing authority. Same thing, different name, but basically the same thing. So I want everyone to know that this is in the works, and I don't know for sure when it's going to happen. I also know that the Kingston Trucking paid the county commissioners $400,000 for the right to take gravel out to build a solar farm. None of this has been approved yet. It hasn't been. I don't think it's been approved from Natural Heritage yet. And there was some woman who came from the Pine Barrens Association that was saying that it's very environmental sensitive to pine barrens. So I don't know if they've cleared National Heritage yet. I know they haven't come to the town yet. I know they came to the town to talk about one thing, and they knew about these contracts but never said a word, and just all of a sudden sprung this on us. I would love to get out of this county government. I don't think Plymouth should be part of this county government. You know, I don't know how much we have to pay to be in, to be in this, but I would suggest if we do, to take the money and put it in an escrow account, refuse to pay, and get out of the county. They just, I'm sorry, we don't need these people. County government is gone. There's only a few counties left that have it, and it's not working here. So it hadn't worked in the other counties, so they all phased it out. It's just another level of government, and
level of bureaucracy
we don't need. Yeah. So I'm very adamant about that.
Oh, so adamant he dropped his microphone
again.
There you go.
Sorry, Kenny.
Kenny's like, my ear, my ear. Well, and again, it goes back to the lack of transparency that we see in so many levels of our government. And, if they were a publicly traded company, which I've worked for in the past and currently do now, I mean, it has to be all about transparency. And for the finagling, whether it's, up on, Beacon Hill, when, legislators give themselves raises at midnight when there's nobody there to debate it, when bills get passed, when the majority of the Democratic Party, because that's what it's almost a one-party rule up there, even though little by little the Republicans are making some headway, but stuff is passed without without those votes, or we're not allowed to vote because they up on Beacon Hill think that they know better than we do. Transparency has to be there, because without transparency there's no trust. Without trust, then this whole system of ours that started here in 1620 with the Mayflower Compact, it doesn't work. It ceases to work, and we get what we have now, which is stalling in Washington D.C. Nothing gets done, and it's amazing. It's just it baffles me with this country's going down the tube so fast, and yet nobody does a thing about it.
No, it's all being selfish. It's, people, you talk about Tip O'Neill, but he'd fight like a pit bull during the day, but after the day was over, he would go and have a beer with whoever.
He was Ronnie Reagan.
Yeah, and it's not that way anymore. I mean, I don't agree with everything like Andrew thinks, and he don't agree with what I think, but that's fine. But, it's right now, if a Republican has a good idea, automatically the Democrats are going to say no, and vice versa. And there's no working together anymore. It's me and it's us against them, and it's us. It's not you against you. It's us. We are the people.
Well, I think what you're seeing in Washington, we're seeing it maybe in the example of the Housing Authority, the county commissioners, it's about power. They have a power base, and especially I see that with both and that's why I've been an independent conservative since 1992, when I actually campaigned for Ross Perot when I was living out in Southern California. But it's all about keeping the status quo, keeping their little fiefdoms, and which is their power base, and they do it with disregard to why they were sent there to begin with, which is for us, to make our lives easier, to give us the things that we can to pursue, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean, those are the words.
Yeah.
Those are the words that we live by. And when, we have, taxes that are taking out, or, these rainy day funds, for instance, all the highway monies that were supposed to go into highway funds to fix all the, the bridges and everything, all the infrastructure that we have here in Massachusetts.
Oh, we have the best one.
With
the best tax.
Yeah.
They put a tax on your electric bill every month. There's billions in this fund for Yucca Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no Yucca Mountain, but they're still taking the money, and the fund keeps on growing. Yeah. And they want to spend it for other things besides Yucca Mountain. In the meantime, Plymouth is sitting with spent fuel rods or dry cask storage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, and when will it get fixed? I don't know. I don't think it's going to. And that's why it's really sad. I mean, it's to the point where, it is going to be people power. It's going to be like we were just talking about, with Southfield, and getting, people that get outraged enough to say, finally, damn it, I'm tired, I'm sick and tired of it, and I'm not going to take it anymore. Was it Broadcast News? Wasn't that Broadcast News?
Yeah.
And they keep the officials, and again I say that generally because there's some great political civic leaders. Vinny DiMacedo's one that is just a top guy. You've got Matt Muratori now, who I've known since high school, and there's others on both sides of the aisle that really want to do good, but unfortunately they get up there, and it's the machine. We've had 3 out of 4 speakers of the House that are serving prison time or have served prison time. Yeah, how's that working out for you? So, again, it really is important that you, as the people, we the people, that we have to do something different, because what's been happening, because let's face it, many people, too many, are apathetic. I can't change things. Well, yeah, you can change things. Back in 1775, do you think that the colonists said, well, you know what, there's nothing we can do, let's just let the British crap all over us? No, they fought back. And, a lot of the blood of those colonists run through a lot of the blood of the people that live in this state, live in this Commonwealth. So little victories are big victories. So if it's the Southfield thing, if it's the the county commissioner issues, the transfer station issues, people get out there, make noise. The squeaky wheel will get the oil. And so this whole thing with Southfield, it ain't over yet, because let me tell you, that guy on the other side of that glass, he is...
Here he comes again.
Fuming. Here he comes.
Here he comes.
Are you at Pilgrim Sands this weekend?
Yes, I am. Thank you for mentioning that.
And you're going to be there on Saturday?
Saturday, this Saturday the 25th, after a year of absence because of some finger issues with scleroderma, I am back at the Pilgrim Sands this Saturday the 25th from 6:30 to 9:30.
I didn't have enough room to get that up there, but I did tell people, it's right on the screen right now.
Oh.
Go see Andrew.
And that's Andrew right there.
That's Andrew.
Saturday,
say hi, Andrew.
The amigo. Listen, you don't have a lot of time left. I want to thank everybody for calling on Southfield.
Nice.
There is a resident over there at Southfield that knows how to get in touch with me, or you can talk to Ed Bradley or Matt Muratori, and I am in the phone book. So I'm not going to give up until we have AC units in the windows over there.
Awesome.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken.
I think we're ready.
And I want to do a shout out for Gus.
Yeah, shout out for Gus.
Shout out for Gus.
He's running around the living room right now going, where's Daddy? Where's Daddy? Where's Daddy? Again, don't forget, if you see Ken and Karen around town, tell them hello. Next week, Karen will be interviewing David Gould, our environmental director, and our harbor master as well. If it's Wednesday, it's Talk of the Town. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.